Removing the special status of Jammu and Kashmir and the abrogation of Article 370 has been upheld by the Apex Court in a historic verdict today in an order hailed as a beacon of hope for India's true unity. The Supreme Court has said that Article 370 was a temporary provision and the President has the power to revoke it. Upholding the bifurcation of J&K, the Supreme Court has also directed the Election Commission to hold elections by the 30th of September 2024 and restore its statehood. Remember, the Supreme Court was hearing petitions challenging a series of legislative and executive orders to scrap Jammu and Kashmir's special status and split it into union territories. The Supreme Court ruling can be seen as a big boost for the Modi Sarkar ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Remember, Jammu and Kashmir lost its special status in August 2019, months after the BJP won elections by a landslide, and the Prime Minister made good on a key election pledge. Today, the Prime Minister calls it an order of hope, brighter future and resolve for a united India. He's also vowed to work for the vulnerable and marginalized who suffered under Article 370. Listen in to the BJP echoing the Prime Minister.
The decision is a historic decision. All nationalists in this country who welcome the full integration of Jammu and Kashmir. And if you look at the situation on the ground, you have to go and visit Jammu and Kashmir, that there is peace and tranquility. Business, tourism is prospering over there. There is not just these far-reaching constitutional changes have also resulted in huge differences on the ground.
370 तो पहले हट गया था. जो लोग इसको जबरदस्ती कोर्ट में लेके गए उनसे पूछना चाहिए कि आप क्यों कोर्ट का टाइम आपने खराब किया. जो चीज़ वैध थी वो वैध है और कोर्ट ने उसके ऊपर मुहर लगा दी कि भाई वैध चीज़ को आप जबरदस्ती लेकर आए हो.
सर, अपोजिशन ये आरोप लगा रहा था कि आप लोग चुनाव नहीं कराना चाहते हैं. उसकी डेडलाइन भी तय कर दी गई है. इलेक्शन कमीशन को कहा गया है कि आप 24 में चुनाव कराएं, सितंबर के महीने तक.
जिनकी नकारात्मक सोच होती है उनके बारे में मैं कुछ नहीं कहना चाहता. हमारी सरकार मोदी जी के नीचे बिल्कुल सही रास्ते पर चल रही है और खासकर कश्मीर के मुद्दे.
एक लंबी प्रतीक्षा लोग कर रहे थे, देश के लोग भी कर रहे थे और विशेष तौर से जम्मू कश्मीर के. और सरकार ने इस 370 को जब हटाया, समाप्त किया, तो लोगों में एक उत्साह का वातावरण था. दुर्भाग्य से कुछ लोगों ने इसको कोर्ट पे ले गए, परंतु कोर्ट ने भी सरकार के उस निर्णय को मुहर लगा दिया.
The regional satraps of Jammu and Kashmir, who lost the most after the abrogation, have rejected the verdict as a death sentence for the idea of India. Umar Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti have both vowed to fight on. Listen in.
उम्मीद मत छोड़ो. जम्मू कश्मीर ने बहुत सारे उतार चढ़ाव देखे हैं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट का आज का फैसला ये एक पड़ाव है, मुश्किल ही सही पर पड़ाव है. ये मंजिल नहीं है हमारी. इसको मंजिल समझने की गलती मत करो. हमारे मुखालफिन चाहते हैं कि हम उम्मीद छोड़ के, दिल बर्दाश्ता होके शिकस्त को तस्लीम करें, पर ऐसा नहीं होना है. आप जानते हैं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यह कहा कि 370 आर्जी है, इसलिए इसको हटाया गया. ये हमारी हार नहीं है, बल्कि आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया की हार है, हिंदुस्तान के तस्वुर की हार है.
हमने सुप्रीम कोर्ट का दरवाज़ा खटखटाया था क्योंकि हम इंसाफ की उम्मीद कर रहे थे. हमारी कोशिशें यहाँ ख़त्म नहीं होंगी. हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट को रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं. क्या दोबारा अदालत के दरवाज़ों को खटखटाना हमारे लिए एक पॉसिबिलिटी है या क्या हम उस पर सोच सकते हैं? मैं कह नहीं सकता हूँ. हमें अपने वकीलों से बात करनी होगी.
रिज़ल्ट में अभी लाइव सुन रहा था और जो यूनानिमस जजमेंट थी, ये सुनकर बहुत निराशा हुई, बहुत अफसोस हुआ. ये आखिरी हमारी उम्मीद थी कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसमें सुनाई करे और इसका फैसला सुनाए. जम्मू कश्मीर के सभी लोग, चाहे वो कश्मीर के हों या जम्मू सूबा के, वो खुश नहीं हैं. मैं आज भी समझता हूँ कि ये हमारी रीजन के लिए एक हिस्टोरिकल चीज़ थी. हमारे जज्बात जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों से इससे जुड़े थे.
नहीं, आज जो फैसला आया हम उससे मुतमईन नहीं हैं और मेजॉरिटी मोरालिटी की कामयाबी हुई है. इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि कश्मीर हमेशा से भारत का एक अटूट हिस्सा रहा है. बट अटूट हिस्सा जब हम कहते हैं तो उसका जो रिलेशनशिप है यूनियन से, उसको तो आप डिनाई नहीं कर सकेंगे. कि किसी एक सेमिनार में चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया ने कहा है मैं अंग्रेजी में पढ़ देता हूँ कि पब्लिक डेलिब्रेशन विल ऑलवेज बी अ थ्रेट टू दोज हु अचीव पावर इन एब्सेंस। अब क्वेश्चन ये है कि जब आप एब्रोगेट कर रहे हैं स्पेशल स्टेटस, पूरे स्टेट को कर्फ्यू में लगाकर 356 लगा दिया आपने, इलेक्टेड असेंबली नहीं है, तो फिर कश्मीर में डेलिब्रेट किसने किया, बताइए हमको।
After Supreme Court's historic decision to uphold the abrogation of Article 370, joining us at the moment is former Union Minister and the son of the last Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, Maharaja Hari Singh. Dr. Karan Singh is with us on the broadcast here at Times Now. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to Times Now. My first question to you, how do you respond to the decision by the Supreme Court to uphold what the NDA government did on the 5th of August 2019, abrogating Article 370?
Well, what I can make of your question, because the line is very bad, let me say that whatever I say is in my personal capacity and not on behalf of the Congress. They have their own spokesman. So I welcome the decision, because there has been an air of uncertainty for several years with regard to the legitimacy and legality of the decision. And now that the Supreme Court has meticulously given their judgment, I was very impressed by the way they went through every single detail. Now I think this is a decision that should be welcomed and accepted.
Right. So you have earlier called for the restoration of full statehood to Jammu and Kashmir. After the court's verdict, are you hopeful that
Yes.
this would see the light of day?
Yes, well, you know, I was very happy that the court has supported what I've been calling for. And they've mentioned two things. They've mentioned the restoration of statehood, and they've also mentioned the holding of elections by a certain date. Now, in my view, these two things are linked, because before the elections, the statehood must be restored. Why should the people of the state vote for a union territory? When the statehood is to be restored, it should be given to them so that the vote is for a full-fledged state. So whenever the dates are set, before the date of the election, at least a reasonable period before, statehood should be restored.
So are you saying that
between these two events?
So are you saying then that if elections happen for a union territory as it currently stands, then the entire democratic exercise would be pointless or meaningless?
Yes, well, it wouldn't be meaningless, but it wouldn't be full of meaning. Full meaning must be must have a proper election for a proper state. Why should we have an election for half a state or a junior state?
Because there are several union territories like Delhi, Puducherry, etc., which are union territories and they have an assembly.
Well, but my dear friend, they have been union territories for many years. Ours just recently demoted from full-fledged state to union territory. You can't compare it with Delhi and Goa and others, I'm sorry.
Right. You know, because even today, for instance, we've seen Mehbooba Mufti, Mr. Umar Abdullah, of course, talking about how they've been put under quote-unquote house arrest. And one of the questions that they repeatedly raise, you know, today there was an aisi-taisi democracy comment that he made, but political parties in the valley particularly talk about this political vacuum in the absence of an elected government. Do you think that these concerns expressed by the political leaders from the Kashmir Valley are legitimate ones?
Well, obviously there is no elected representative now, so to that extent the grievance is justified, which is why I am saying that the restoration of the statehood and the election should take place as soon as possible.
Mr. Singh, let me ask you, the members of the Gupkar Alliance have taken a stance against the judgment. They say that this is a setback to the idea of India. Do you think that they are correct in saying that?
No, you see, as I said, now that the judgment has come, there will continue to be different responses, because after all we are a democracy and there's freedom of speech. But personally, as I said, I welcome it, and I do not think there's any advantage left in trying to oppose it now, because it is unrealistic to expect a party which would get 2/3 members in both houses to undo this I don't think constitutionally, don't think it's politically possible now. And we may as well get on with the development of the state now with proper elections and a government, a popular government.
Right. One of the judges, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, has said that there needs to be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to look into the violations of human rights since the 1980s. Yes. What do you make of this recommendation, sir?
I think it's a very good idea if it can be implemented. I mean, we're following, of course, the South African experience. I was there when Nelson Mandela was released, so I'm aware of that.